Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Eric Brotman on the line. He's CEO of BFG Financial Advisors, president of Brotman Consulting Group, and he's host of the podcast, Don't Retire, Graduate. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Adam. Glad to be here.
So I'm excited to get more into your podcast and also into what you're doing over at BFG Financial Advisors and Brotman Consulting Group. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into your background. So how did you get started in your career and in business?
Well, like all great financial advisors, I started as an English major. And so I went to school, got a liberal arts degree, and 26 years ago started in the financial services area, getting trained on the insurance side, on the investment side. In 2003, I founded BFG Financial Advisors. It was actually Brotman Financial Group at the time, but we've grown by merger and acquisition, and so we're rebranding a little bit. But I've been involved with working with families now for over a quarter century.
Man, that's awesome, and I think that's a great transition. Let's just jump right into BFG Financial Advisors and Brotman Consulting Group. Tell us a little bit more about the businesses, please.
Sure. BFG Financial Advisors is a group of 8 financial advisors in suburban Maryland. We represent families, most of them multi-generational families all over the country. So we have clients in 29 states or so. We manage just shy of $500 million, and we take care of all of those folks from a wealth management standpoint, a risk management standpoint, and a comprehensive financial planning perspective. So it's like having a concierge physician. It's a very personal and very deep relationship on financial matters. And so our focus at BFG is families and consumers. Our focus at Brotman Consulting Group is other financial advisors. So I actually do a fair amount of speaking and coaching and teaching and webinars and things to help financial advisors amplify their practices. And some of that is through the use of podcasts and other media, and some of it just good blocking and tackling techniques for financial advisors to grow their firms.
Man, that's awesome. So that being said, what kind of so there's some people listening right now. I have an audience nationwide, and some of them are in Maryland, and some of them are, in that area. What kind of clients are the right kind of niche for BFG Financial Advisors, just to make sure that if they're following up with you, they're the right kind of fit?
Sure. Most of our clients are what I would refer to affectionately as the sandwich generation. Folks who show up on our doorsteps tend to be between 45 and 65 years old. They have parents getting older they're a little worried about. They have kids that they're educating. They're working like crazy themselves. They're busy humans, whether they're executives or professionals or entrepreneurs, and they're trying to handle all these various things and really just want a co-pilot to help them navigate the financial decisions in their lives so they can get on with the family matters and the business matters they need to attend to.
That's awesome. And in terms of this, it's super interesting to me that you're also coaching and helping other financial advisors that aren't necessarily in your practice. That's amazing. I love it. I love when people take their expertise and use it to help the greater good of financial services, because we know, there's a lot of people that need our help nationwide. That being said, what kind of financial advisors do you work with?
Most financial advisors we represent are independent advisors. They're either in 1 or 2 advisor practices, or they're thinking about becoming independent advisors. They rarely are employees of big companies or big firms. And to me, Adam, you raise an important point, which is why would I be technically training my competitors, if you will? And the fact is, I don't see other financial advisors as competition. There's an enormous shortage of financial advisors in the United States, and an even greater shortage of good ones. And I think the lousy financial so-called professionals give such a black eye to our industry that I would rather work with folks and have them doing great work in their communities. And my feeling is that the client who chooses me, and if you were my client and you were a financial advisor doing these things, the client who chooses me and the client who chooses you, they're going to be different people. They're going to connect with us differently. There's so much opportunity that I just don't feel competition with any other advisors anyplace.
No, that's exciting. I completely agree with you. Let's get into this podcast. So don't retire, graduate. Tell us more. How did this all come about?
It came about because I've been working for a number of years trying to create financial literacy education in schools in our home state. And, some states, Pennsylvania and North Carolina, are coming out with some of these things, and Maryland, in my opinion, is behind the curve. And there's an incredible crisis of financial illiteracy in this country. Folks just aren't learning these strategies, not just the kids, but the adults. And what I found was that some basic education on the things that you needed to do would be helpful. Well, that is now expanded. And it's expanded because baby boomers are retiring in record numbers, and most of them don't have a plan when they retire. And I don't mean a financial plan. I mean a life plan. If you go from working 60 hours a week to Oprah and shuffleboard, you're going to have a problem. You're going to not have a reason to get out of bed. So I think there's a message about needing purpose. I think people should work as long as they are physically and mentally able to at something they love, so it doesn't feel like a chore. And so I view retirement, and I put that in quotes, as a graduation to the next stage of our lives. I don't think it should be the ending or the retreat or the disappearing act that we've made it to be. Retirement was created by governments back in the 1800s as a way to get old people out to pasture. It sounds terrible. And, no one should do that. So I think retirement is the absence of needing to work, not the absence of work. And so I prefer to think of it as financial independence. So we help our clients and we help our audience graduate into retirement instead of disappearing and simply not having a purpose.
No, that's great. And so what kind of format? First off, everyone definitely go. This is on the website. Definitely great work you're doing there and great material. What kind of content can they expect? Like show format? What are some of the show topics? Just to give people a flavor of what to expect when they listen to your podcast.
Sure. The show runs typically 25 to 30 minutes, and we post new episodes every other Thursday. And the shows are myself interviewing a guest, and the guests range from folks involved with financial literacy to folks who have successfully retired and are volunteering. We've had guests on who are in their 80s and are still creating new businesses. We've had folks on to talk about philanthropy and purpose and the things that make them happy later in life. We've had folks on to talk about the more technical aspects of estate planning and how it's not only for rich people. And so it's a broad swath. We've had folks on to talk about family business and how challenging it can be for the next generation to take over a business and all the different layered conversations that happen there. So it's designed to be educational. It's also designed to be fun. I've never had anyone say it's a boring show, that's for sure.
No, you don't sound like a boring guy to me. Like, it sounds like it's going to be a fun show and a great thing for people to hear about. So that being said, a couple of things here. If somebody's listening to this, first off, and they want more information on BFG Financial Advisors, because they are looking and want to have one of those conversations about creating a broader life plan, as you mentioned, or if they're an advisor and they're in that 1 to 2 person shop feel and they're thinking about some consulting and sharpening up, and they want to learn more about Brotman, what's the best way for them to get information on either of the two?
The website for BFG Financial Advisors is bfgfa.com, and there's a lot of information there about our team and how to reach us. Brotman Consulting Group is just brotmanconsultinggroup.com, and there's a landing page there, a way to get in touch with us, and also a full menu of the types of services we provide, the types of topics we cover with our advisory clients. And then the podcast itself is at don'tretiregraduate.com, and it's available on all the various streaming sites. And we're working right now on a book that will come out with the same title, and so it'll support the podcast sometime later in 2020.
Man, that's fantastic. Well, hey, I definitely want to thank you for coming to the show, Eric. And everyone that's listening, definitely go check that out. Don'tRetireGraduate.com. Just looking at some of the episodes, financial literacy education, overcoming challenges, and inspiring others to thrive. finding happiness and success in retirement, grooming your children for the family business, repurposing your lifelong career. I mean, so many great episodes to go on here and check. I definitely recommend going to give those a listen. And again, that's don'tretiregraduate.com. And don't forget, subscribe to the podcast. I hope you got a lot of fun out of listening to this. We shared a lot of fun making this for you. Also, if you're listening to this on YouTube or watching on YouTube, don't forget, subscribe to the channel and leave us some comments in the video. Let us know what you're thinking and what you thought about the episode. Love to engage and connect with you there. And Eric, thanks again for coming on the show.
Adam, my pleasure. It was great being here.